Well, good evening on this 24th day of April 2023. Tonight, some bad news from the Good News International Church as the total number of bodies exhumed rises to 65 and the total number of the dead now standing at 73. We have that update even as the president now terms the chief suspect in the whole horrific tale a terrorist. Also tonight, the initial batch of evacuees from the conflict-ridden Sudan is scheduled to arrive at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport anytime from now. And we have our very own reporter, Moigi William, on standby, who will be joining us later on in this broadcast to tell us what is the latest. The Kenya Defence Forces has declared that Defence Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale will be responsible for welcoming the group. Well, tonight, let's have a look at the highlights. Police rescue 9 people, including a man suspected to be a mastermind and lead clergy attached to cult leader Paul Mackenzie.
That people like Mackenzie and all other terrorists and criminals do not belong to any religion. They belong to jail.
As the total number of bodies exhumed so far rises to 67. The first group of evacuees from war-torn Sudan is expected to arrive at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at 9:30 this evening. The Kenyan Defence Forces have announced that the evacuees will be received by Defence Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale. And governors announced that counties will be forced to shut down in 2 weeks due to delayed disbursement of funds by the National Treasury.
By dint of this, the Council of Governors hereby issues a 14 days notice to shut down counties if February, March, April arrears are not released within the next 2 weeks.
They say the delay in funds poses a threat to devolution. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter is Catherine C. Malloy. Now tonight, President William Ruto has finally broken his silence on the Shakahola cult horror, terming the cult leader a terrorist. Let's have a look at that.
There is no difference between Mr. Mackenzie, who pretends and postures as a pastor, when in fact he is a terrible criminal. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts. People like Mr. Mackenzie are using religion to do exactly the same thing. I want to say that the government of Kenya, and I have instructed the agencies responsible to take up the matter and to get to the root cause and to the bottom of the activities of religious or people who want to use religion to advance weird, unacceptable ideology in the Republic of Kenya that is causing unnecessary loss of life. Let me also that any religious group that preaches against the tenets of the Constitution, any religious institution that teaches against seeking medical attention or going to school, those responsible should be prosecuted. Those institutions and those religious institutions should be closed down because they are working against the collective interest of the people of Kenya. Let me say, for the avoidance of doubt, that people like Mackenzie and all other terrorists and criminals do not belong to any religion. They belong to jail, and that is where they should be.
President William Ruto there speaking earlier today. Our very own Sharon Baranga will be giving us a detailed piece on that later on in this broadcast. Now, tonight, the Council of Governors has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the National Treasury to disburse county funds, failure to which there will be a shutdown. The counties are owed a total of 94 billion shillings for the last 3 months. Have a look.
A showdown is looming in counties as the Council of Governors plans to down their tools due to late disbursement of revenue. The devolved units have not received money for the last 4 months.
We have therefore called upon the CS National Treasury to immediately release the 94.35 billion owed to county governments without any further delay. By dint of this, the Council of Governors hereby issues a 14 days notice to shut down counties if February, March, April arrears are not released within the next 2 weeks.
So we're giving notice here that if we don't get our money for January, February and March, we're giving notice to national government and informing Kenyans that we will have absolutely no option but to shut down counties and ask the workers to go home until such a time when counties are funded.
According to the COG Chair Governor Anne Waiguru, the 4-month delay is unusual in the history of devolution and contradicts the goals of the conference between President William Ruto and the governors that was conducted in Naivasha. They are now calling upon the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary to immediately release the 94.35 billion shillings owed to county government without any further delay. These include that 1.45 billion shillings for the month of February, 29.6 billion shillings for the month of March, and 33.3 billion shillings for April.
The National Treasury has not disbursed a total of 94.35 billion. The arrears are as follows: 31.45 billion owed to 47 counties for February 2023 allocation, Kenya shillings 29.6 billion owed to 47 counties for March 2023 allocation, and 33.3 billion owed to 47 counties for the April allocation.
The governors also want the Ministry of Finance and National Treasury to be separated to address the challenges. The county chiefs have cited this as being the greatest impediment to devolution.
We note with concern that in the history of devolution, the Senate has never voted against the spirit of devolution in as far as the increase of resources is concerned. We call upon the Senate to uphold their primary mandate that the county governments are well-resourced in order to perform their functions optimally.
Flora Limukit, TV 47.
Well, back to a top story where President William Ruto earlier today finally broke his silence on the Shakahola cult horror, terming the cult leader a terrorist. This as homicide detectives have exhumed 26 more bodies in Shakahola, Kilifi County, bringing the total number of those dead to 73. 29 people have been rescued so far. Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome says a post-mortem will be done on all the bodies to ascertain the cause of death.
President William Ruto has equated controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie to a terrorist and wants him to be brought to book. At the same time, hinting on the need to regulate religious organizations.
There is no difference between Mr. Mackenzie, who pretends and postures as a pastor, when in fact he is a terrible criminal. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts. People like Mr. Mackenzie are using religion to do exactly the same thing. I want to say that the government of Kenya and I have instructed the agencies responsible to take up the matter and to get to the root cause and to the bottom of the activities of religious or people who want to use religion to advance weird, unacceptable ideology in the Republic of Kenya that is causing unnecessary loss of life. Any religious group that preaches against the tenets of the Constitution any religious institution that teaches against seeking medical attention or going to school, those responsible should be prosecuted. Those institutions and those religious institutions should be closed down because they are working against the collective interest of the people of Kenya. Let me say, for the avoidance of doubt, that people like Mackenzie and all other terrorists and criminals do not belong to any religion. They belong to jail, and that is where they should be.
For families with missing loved ones, news from Shakahola village in Kilifi County has been shocking. They have been camping at the forest which has been marked as a scene of crime, some trying to call and text their loved ones. The body count is now at 73, after 26 more bodies were exhumed on Monday in the 800 acres farm.
By yesterday, 47. Today we have exhumed. We are just about to remove 11 other bodies. This is continuous operation. And you know, we've talked about the rescuing. You know, this is expansive parts of land. So actually we are in two teams. There are those exhuming and another team out there rescuing those who could be alive. And that's why, remember, I started by telling you have already rescued 29. It's ongoing operation. We believe there are more sites. We believe there are more sites. And that's why I like to thank the officers and the teams here. The patriotism, the commitment I've seen in them is indeed encouraging. So we are ready to go all the way until we rescue any person who could be out there starving himself because he was told by this person, criminal, to starve himself or herself. So effort will be put to rescue everybody here and also exhume up to the last body.
The Inspector General of Police says a post-mortem exercise will be done on all the bodies to determine the cause of death.
All these bodies we have exhumed here, post-mortem will be done. We are also collecting samples from the graves. And you've seen mass graves. We are collecting samples. Those who will go, those soil samples will go through various tests. We want to identify whether there was any poisoning. Also, out of the postmortem, we shall be able to tell how did this person die. Was there suffocation? Was any other method used? Was murder committed? So, in-depth investigations will be carried out. And I've stated, anybody found culpable for whatever offense will carry his own cross. National Police Service, and this year I will tell you, we are doing, there's something we shall have to do, DNA. DNA, you know, somebody has said, my family member is missing, right? So we are going to get the samples from these bodies and those making those allegations, right? Then out of DNA, out of science, we shall be able to tell. Of course, matching, we shall be able to, but it's thorough investigations. It's a matter you cannot rush through, but it's being done professionally, carefully, right? Because we must do the right thing.
There's no problem.
It was not all gloom, however, for everyone. Joyce Makori from Kisii County is a happy woman. This is after she was able to find her husband, a follower of Paul Mackenzie of the Good News International Church. Her husband left their home in October last year.
Utafuta bwana wangu alikuja hapa mwezi wa 10 tarehe 12. Akaniambia ameenda Jerusalem kwa Mackenzie kutafuta Yesu. Changwani.
Endelea.
Changwani. Sasa nimemtafuta lakini nimempata. Sote.
Mmekuaje? Umempata akiwa hali gani?
Alikuwa sawa, alikuwa anatoka Kisiagi, amenomena na unga, aenda kupika msituni akula huko mwezi wa 6 ngojea Yesu ndiye aende.
Wewe unajisikiaje?
Mimi niko sawa, nafurahia kwa sababu nimempata, kwa sababu watu wako wananiambia niwapee kijana yao. lakini nimefurahia, nimempata.
For Stephen Mwaniki, it is still a matter of praying and hoping that he will find his relatives safe and sound. He traveled from Kitui County after receiving horrific news from the now infamous Shakahola village in Kilifi County.
Nimetoka huko ni kwa ajili ya kuja kutafuta ndugu yangu na sister yangu na mjukuu wangu. Wale wametoka Nairobi wakasema wanaenda mission. Na hiyo mission walikuja handi hapa Malindi na walienda kwa hiyo kanisa ya Mackenzie. Na waleo wakati nimefika nimepitia police station huko Malindi na nikaweza kuandikisha, na baada ya kuandikisha nikaenda kwa ofisi ya DCIO tukajaribu kutrack namba yake, lakini namba yake ikatuelekeza hapa porini, na waleo niko hapa porini ni kwa ajili ya kuhakikisha kama pengine naweza mpata akiwa hai, sababu juzi tuliongea na yeye na ikawa anaongea na sauti kidogo sana, akawa anafifia ni kama alikuwa anaendelea na kufast. Na jana nilijaribu kuongea na yeye akachukua simu lakini hakuongea, instead alinitext akaniambia wako hai wakiwa watatu.
Meanwhile, the Presbyterian Church of East Africa has condemned the cultic teachings that have resulted to the deaths of tens of people in Shakahola. The leadership of the church wants a proper vetting and regulation of religious movements to avert such cases.
Hili ni jambo ambalo kanisa kamili haliwezi funza watu wake na njia hilo ama na njia hiyo. Na kwa hivyo tunataka kuuliza Wakristo wote, ni vizuri kuelewa ya kuwa Mungu ametuita tumpende sio tu kwa mioyo yetu, walakini hata kwa mawazo. Tusiache akili na tusiache kuuliza maswali katika yale mambo ambayo tunaambiwa na viongozi wetu. Viongozi wetu wengine wamekuwa ambao sio njia nzuri, ili hali wanasema wao ni mapasta, lakini kusema wao ni pasta sio kusema ni mapasta wa ukweli. Wanaweza kuwa anatumia jina la kanisa, kube wanania mbovu.
Regulations and the parameters of operations are needed so that we remain fair to all humanity.
Interior CS Kithure Kindiki will be in Shakahola on Tuesday to ascertain the magnitude of the issue. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
Well, thank you, Sharon Baranga, for that. At 16 minutes past the hour, time now for a very short break. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Of Weneke tonight. Experience the captivation of love.
Now reports Azimio la Umoja still maintains that they will embark on mass action from next week if their counterparts won't honor their demands. Have a look.
The 14-member bipartisan team co-chaired by Rarieda MP Otienti Amolo and George Murogara of Tharaka is expected to hold its second meeting tomorrow to deliberate on fundamental issues and perhaps strike a balance on the dimension the negotiations will take. Even before the meeting, Raila Odinga-led Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition has accused Kenya Kwanza, led by President William Ruto, of lack of commitment to the bipartisan talks, adding that the protest will continue even as the negotiations go on.
Wanasema tio tulipata hazina tupu. Kulikuwa hakuna chochote. Serikali ya handshake ilimaliza pesa yote. Nauliza handshake.
During its meeting on Thursday last week, the team agreed to engage the two leaders, President Ruto and Raila Odinga, on the committee's composition, formalization, and the nature of talks, whether parliamentary or extra-parliamentary.
We are committed and confident that this committee shall find lasting solutions to the concerns raised to it.
Each party will develop its framework for harmonization in our subsequent meetings. The committee noted the concerns raised about its composition, formalization, and the nature of talks, whether parliamentary or extra-parliamentary.
However, Azimio pointed out that the nature of the engagement with the two principals does not mean the team had reverted their responsibility to the deal. Odinga had last week vowed to ensure the resumption of the street protest after Ramadan, which ended last Friday, in a bid to compel the government to address the concerns by the opposition.
Yes, Mike.
Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni has affirmed that the demonstrations will resume after Raila Odinga returned from his Dubai trip.
It's totally immoral. And until those changes are allowed to happen on the floor of the House, we will be out in maandamano.
Azimio has been pushing for a process akin to the 2008 National Accord, which saw Raila Odinga and former President, the late Mwai Kibaki, share power in the Grand Coalition government. Kenya Kwanza administration, however, countered the narrative, affirming that bipartisan talks will be done in Parliament according to the dictates of the Constitution.
We have objected to their objection. Okay? They have equally objected to our objection. And therefore, to be frank enough, that amounts to a stalemate.
We have remained and we remain open ourselves together with our party leaders for escalation of such issues. that they may need further resolution upwards.
Azimio is represented by Senators Ledama Olekina, Edwin Sifuna, Enoch Wampoa, and National Assembly leaders Amina Muyanzi, Millie Odhiambo, David Pkosing, and Otiende Amolo. Former West Pokot governor has, however, poked holes on selection of David Pkosing in the panel, claiming that he did not consult the KUP party.
We have not sent Honorable Pkosing. Nobody has endorsed him to join that bipartisan. Maybe he delivered himself there. We are not party to that.
All IBC servers are kept in the IBC office. So to even tell the president that we want you to open the servers is actually very misleading.
Lonyangampo said they only pledged their loyalty to President William Ruto government and insisting that they are not part and parcel of the scheduled mass action. Mike Kagwongo, TV 47, Nairobi.
Well, tonight, as I mentioned, the initial batch of evacuees from the conflict-ridden Sudan is scheduled to arrive at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, that is JKIA, anytime from now. And I understand we can link up with our reporter, Moege William, who is live at the JKIA. Good evening, Moege. What is the latest from the airport?
All right, we are coming live to you from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, where any minute from now we're expecting the first batch of evacuees from Sudan, which for the past 2 weeks has been hit by a violence where two sides have been conflicting over the issue of democracy and also taking power to control Sudan. That is one part being led, being the Sudan army, and the other one being the the RSF, which has its commander is the second person in command of the Sudan army. And at the moment now we're being told the first batch will be arriving of Kenyans who have been evacuated from Sudan will be arriving here at around 9:30. So that is technically, tentatively, we are talking of 4 minutes from now, they'll be arriving here. And the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, that is Aden Duale, he is already here at the JKIA airport to receive the first batch of evacuees from Sudan. Remember, earlier on, different countries, including Canada, United States of America, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, among other countries, have also been evacuating their citizens and also officials who work in their respective embassies. Remember, for the past 2 weeks, more than for the 13th day right now, Sudan, we have witnessed a lot of violence and also a lot of chaos, whereby a push and back between these two conflicting men in uniform with heavy artilleries, whereby at the middle of these civilians who have been injured, with the death toll rising to around more than 400, and also those injured, the number rising to more than 3,000. This according to statistics which have been released by the World Health Organization. So the situation there, have been having different organizations calling for ceasefire. We have had more than two times, we have been having calls for ceasefire and also plans to have a ceasefire between these two conflicting groups and agreeing to a ceasefire. But when the time comes to the agreed time to do or to implement the ceasefire, this has not been happening. So many countries have been observing or following up on whatever is happening in Sudan, but close to 2 weeks now, noting that this ceasefire has not been taking place, many countries have opted to evacuate their citizens and also their embassies. So here we are currently outside the international arrivals here at JKIA. So any moment from now, we're expecting the first batch of Kenyans who have been evacuated to jet in here. And when they get in here, if my camera person could pan to the right, there is already a psychological support desk which has been set, which has already been put up by the Kenya Red Cross. So this is going to allow them to get psychological support from this particular desk. Remember, these are people, probably they have witnessed a lot of violence and chaos, even deaths. Remember, in the city of Khartoum, which is the main city of Sudan, we've been having reports of bodies lying in between the streets. So far, so good. That is the situation here at JKIA, but we are going to be keeping tabs on this situation and bring you up to date on the latest happenings. And whenever the first aeroplane from Sudan touches down here at JKIA, we are going to bring you live pictures from JKIA. Back to you in studio.
Well, thank you, William Mwegi, for that update. But before I let you go, the information that we had earlier on from the KDF Communications Department is that the CES Defense, that is Aden Duale, is scheduled to receive them at the airport. Have you been able to get hold of the CES? And do you have any information about the evacuation process, the subsequent groups that are going to be evacuated?
Come again, I could not get you clearly, Eric.
Well, William, my question is, earlier on when we contacted the KDF Communications Department, they told us that the CES Defense, that is Aden Duale, is expected to receive the Kenyans who've been evacuated from Sudan. My question is, have you been able to get hold of the CES? Do you have any information about the subsequent evacuations when they are going to be conducted?
Well, Eric, as I had mentioned earlier already, the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, that is Aden Duale, is already here. Any moment from now, he's waiting the first batch of the evacuees, Kenyan nationals, Kenyan nationalities who are coming from Sudan to arrive here. So he's the man to receive them. And also other dignitaries have also set a camp here waiting for the Kenyans who have been evacuated from Sudan. So it is a situation we are still monitoring here at JKIA, but I can confirm that the Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale is within JKIA.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, William Mwegi. That is our reporter, William Mwegi, who's live at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, where the defense CS Aden Duale is expected to receive evacuees from the conflict-ridden Sudan. We might want to link up with him in this broadcast. Time now for another short break. Don't go away. We'll be back with more.
As you enter a new phase of life, you may seem lost. Nairobi. Welcome to the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center, the premier events venue. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed to meet all your needs, from large-scale conferences to intimate meetings and everything in between. Located in the heart of Thika, the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center offers stunning views of the city skyline and is easily accessible from all major transportation hubs. Our facility features ample parking, free Wi-Fi, advanced audiovisual equipment, and our technical team is always on hand to ensure your event runs smoothly and seamlessly. Don't take our word for it. Make your next event unforgettable at the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center. Contact us today for bookings and reservations. Email multimedia@mku.ac.ke or call us on 0708 212204 or 0727 441733 or 0721 438 629 to learn more about our services and book your event.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has commended the work of the disciplined men and women in various services in the country for their tireless dedication and commitment in serving the nation and its citizens in various capacities. Mudavadi says the strides being made by Kenyans in the disciplined service are worth tremendous recognition since many have sacrificed and worked hard towards cultivating a public service that is fit for service delivery. Mudavadi was speaking at the Kenya Prison Staff Training College in Ruiru, Kiambu County, where he accompanied President William Ruto, who presided over the graduation of 222 prison cadet officers who have completed their 13-month training course in their field of service.
It is always a sense or a moment of joy and pride to Kenyans and to our nation when we see disciplined men and women marching by and taking the oath, committing to serve this country and yourself as they have done today. Our disciplined forces, our men and women in uniform, have been a beacon of hope that this country is stable, shall remain stable, and is a country that shall observe the rule of law. This has also gone beyond our borders because a lot of these men and women are always called upon to serve beyond our borders in peacekeeping efforts, in training of other nations' people, and that is a clear recognition that Kenya has made tremendous strides in ensuring that we cultivate the right kind of public service, a public service that is fit for purpose, that is able to ensure that there is stability, and that is what a robust economy requires. Let me also congratulate all the men and women who have today been honored after successfully completing their package of training. We say congratulations to you as cadets today.
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACCA, has today arrested 4 out of 7 suspects in relation to procurement fraud in the award of contracts for maintenance of Chebosi Wanelopi Kituni Road in Bungoma County. The contract was awarded in the financial year 2018-2019 by the county government of Bungoma to a company called Fastech General Supplies Limited at a tender sum of 5.7 million shillings. Faustin Wanji with more.
3 Bungoma County officials, Bramwell Maelo, Susan Mboy and Wycliffe Makanga, have been arrested by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Bungoma branch officers in relation to procurement fraud in the award of a contract to maintain Chebosi Wanelopi Kituni Road in Bungoma County. The 4th suspect, Sandra Soita Nasambu, a director of MS Fastech General Supplies, was arrested in Mombasa County and will be escorted to Bungoma to record a statement. The contract was awarded in the financial year 2018-2019 by the county government of Bungoma to a company called Fastech General Supplies Limited at a tender sum of 5.7 million shillings. The suspects who were arrested in Bungoma were held at EACC Bungoma Regional Office before they were processed and later detained at Bungoma Police Station until tomorrow, when they will be arraigned before the Anti-Corruption Court in Bungoma. The commission has directed the 3 remaining suspects, Eric Papa Makoha, a work officer at the county, Wafula Wakoli Chestiti, who is the director of Fastex General Supplies Limited, and George Bifan, an employee of Fastex General Supplies, to immediately present themselves to EACC Bungoma office.
Eric Ngumbi, mkuu wa mawasiliano katika tume ya EACC. Kuna washukiwa 3 ambao EACC bado haijawapata. Inakisiwa kana kwamba wamekwenda mafichoni, na tume ya EACC inawaamurisha washukiwa hawa 3 waweze kujisalimisha mara moja katika ofisi zetu za EACC kule Bungoma ama kwa ofisi yoyote ya EACC iliyo karibu.
The suspects will be charged with the willful failure to comply with the law and regulations relating to procurement and engaging in fraudulent practices. Wanji Sostin, TV47, Bungoma.
Moving on, President William Ruto Monday commissioned the CyberKnife, a state-of-the-art non-invasive treatment center at the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. Ruto has noted that the CyberKnife is a step in the right direction to achieve universal health coverage. This even as patients will start benefiting from the machine in 2 weeks' time, according to Professor Olive Mugenda.
Board members.
Speaking during the unveiling of the CyberKnife Center at Kenyatta Teaching and Referral Hospital, President William Ruto affirmed his government's commitment to achieving universal health coverage, saying the center is a step towards the right direction.
This event is therefore a true milestone in our national healthcare journey, because we are here to launch a center which represents the convergence of high standards of treatment, state-of-the-art technology, affordability, and effectiveness in cancer treatment.
The CyberKnife is a state-of-the-art non-invasive treatment center that will be key in detecting and correcting cancers such as brain cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic, prostate, and brain tumors.
An advanced robotic radiation treatment machine known as the CyberKnife, which introduces revolutionary capabilities and enhanced efficacy in cancer treatment by locating, tracking, and accessing tumors that are ordinarily difficult to reach with precision.
According to the hospital's board chair, Professor Olive Mugenda, the center is currently being set up, with Kenyans expected to start benefiting from it in 2 weeks' time.
CyberKnife is ready to start treatment since it is stored and fully functional. After today, Your Excellency, actually, engineers will undertake the final testing, undertake the soft run and the dry run, and in 2 weeks' time, the CyberKnife services will commence with treating the first patient.
President Ruto was flanked by, among others, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, CS Health Susan Nakhumicha, Chief Justice Martha Koome, among others. Earlier, CS Nakhumicha had signed an MOU with the World Health Organization on the establishment of the emergency hub in Nairobi for East and South Africa. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Moving on, the simmering land compensation row between residents of Budalangi constituency and Lower Nzoia project management has attracted the attention of elected leaders in the constituency, who are now demanding immediate payments. Our reporter Ronnie Regan with the details of that story.
The management had promised to make payments mid-September last year, a promise that was never honored to date. And now the National Lands Commission and National Irrigation Board have moved in to assure residents of their compensation sooner than later.
Shida imekuwa compensation, watu kulipwa. Lakini si eti pesa hakuna. Pesa ya kulipa watu iko. Hata iko wakati tuliita watu pale Sikiri Bridge na waziri Eugene akiwa kwa water, tukapeana cheki ya milioni 906. Hizo pesa ziko kwa account ya compensation.
This is after the area member of National Assembly Raphael Wanjala disclosed that the project was funded with close to Kenyan shilling 1 billion to effect compensation more than 5 years ago, further urging the project management to come out clear on the issue.
Kama kuna mtu analala kwa kazi yake, sleeping on his job, simply because pesa iko documents zitengenezwa, account zikapeanwa, it's just transferring money kwa ili watu wako compensated. But till now, watu hawajakuwa compensated.
His sentiment was echoed by Bunyala Central Ward Member of County Assembly of Busia John Alfred Omumi and his counterpart Stephen Onyango Nasiagi of Bunyala South Ward, who accused the management of dilly-dallying with the payments, even after every required process was successfully completed 8 months ago, and called on President William Ruto to intervene.
Even last year, a team came, Wadwanzo year, it was somewhere in August, and they promised the wananchi kwamba they could compensate them in less than 2 weeks. So we humbly appeal to them kwa wale ambao hawana shida katika mashamba yao na walishafungua accounts of which several did, wapewe haki yao ili waweze kuendelea na shughuli zao. Naomba kupitia kwa serikali kuu ambayo inaongozwa na rais wetu Bwana William Ruto ili tuweze kupata usaidizi.
National Lands Commission Chairman Garrison Otachi and his National Irrigation Board counterpart Joshua Toro have added their voices in the compensation row, promising to effect the compensation to unlock the standoff to expand the rice irrigation project in Bunyala. The two were speaking in Budalangi constituency over the weekend.
Ni kwamba pia umuhimu kabisa Mheshimiwa Rais naye pia angependa sana kushughulikia mambo yenu hapa. Msiwe na shaka, haitakaa.
Tunazungumza na Land Commission ili wapatie watu compensation, mradi iende haraka haraka, sababu wajibu yetu ni kupatia nyinyi maji, mlime mshere.
Wanjala, however, challenged the residents with the land dispute to put their acts in order for the consideration in the next phase of compensation, with the fears that delays could lead to more family feuds.
Na tunataka kupanua sehemu hii hata ifike ekari 10,000.
Wale hawajalipwa, wengine shida ilikuwa ya mashamba. Unajua huku kwetu kwanza tulikuwa tutamalizana na mambo ya adjudication, tukaanza mambo ya title deed. Wengine hawajaenda Busia kutengeneza kitu inaitwa green card.
Unapata kwamba baba ndiye aliandikwa jina na mimi ni mzee. Sasa ameenda tena ameacha watoto, timeanza a big issue ya succession.
The Lower Nzoia project in Bunyala sub-county aims at controlling and consolidating flooding waters for the expansion of rice farming through digging of canals that will displace majority of residents across the constituency. Ronnie Reagan, TV 47.
Now, parts of the country have been receiving widespread rains, bringing hope for a better crop and relief from a long drought. However, for the Kakuzi squatters in Murang'a County who live in leaky shanties, the rains are a mixed blessing despite their living conditions. The poor residents are now optimistic that the government will address their plight and provide them with a place they can call home, as Chichi Josephine now reports.
David Musao, who lives in a wooden shack covered with polythene papers with rusted corrugated iron sheets, has defied the ongoing rains that give him sleepless nights as he has to squeeze himself at a corner of his almost falling house.
Wakati ya mvua ikinyesha, maji inatoka na juu na inaingia kwa nyumba, alafu kama mimi nalala kwa hiyo katanda kangu nasikia sahani na banya juu kolo kolo kolo. Kukusha hivi maji ni haya. Kiburi hii ya mpira hii ya nylon inaruka juu, naona ndio hii. Maji inajana kujaa kwenda hivi. Mingi sana. Shamba hakuna. Sina hangaika.
In this same area, Esther Kalieke, who is now over 100 years, says she doesn't know where she will be buried should she die, as she has no place to call home, adding that it has become common for them to bury their dead at night in fear of being spotted by the government agencies and the dreaded guards of freight processing company Kakuzi.
Inalala hivi. Ile wanajua nienda wapi. Nitatoka wapi na nienda wapi. Mimi babangu haiko. Mamangu haiko. Ni hakuna mtu wa kunitunga. Inachungwa ni Mungu.
Apart from the leaking sharks that also contribute to long cold nights, the invasion of monkeys into their homes and farms is another challenge, with most of them opting not to plant crops.
Wakati mahindi nao saa ifike kiasi ya kutoa mahindi hivi, manugu inatoka bandini na kulia sisi mahindi kabisa. Na wakati ingine mliona wakati vile ilikula manugu, hatuwezi kula kitu. Naona hata mandisi vile inarugiwa na nimbishi na yaluliwa chini na manugu.
Esther Njeri and Joseph Muriuki allege that their only source of livelihood is through burning of charcoal, whose logs they illegally steal from Kakuzi forest.
Apatie watoto wetu masaba tulikuwa tunaseheka tuone mahali tunawaza. Tukikubwa hawa amatapunguzwa na kampuni ya Kakuzi. Tunasikaga watu usiku, hata watoto ukikubia mtoto baka umusike usiku, kwa maana kampuni hataki kuona Mungu ukisikana hapa. Ukipatikana unaitwa polisi.
Hiyo sisi tuko nayo, tunajuanga anytime tunaweza kufukuzwa mahali hapa. Watu wengine wakifukuzwa mahali hapa hawajui mahali wanasaenda. Ingine ya tatu ni kuwa hawa watu wa Kinyangi hawana kazi. Ile kazi wanafanyanga tu, wanakulanga makaa. Na kukula makaa, hii Kakuzi imewasuia, saa ingine hawatangi njia ya vile wanaweza kujisaidia.
But their diminishing hope got a boost when a meeting organized and led by their chairman Muregi Njogo and attended by government officials assured them that the government was in the process of allocating them land.
Watu wa Kakuzi location ni watu watulivu. Hao ndio walichagua serikali ya Hasora, na hiyo serikali ya Hasora imeanza kutoa dalili ya kuwasaidia. Yenye ningetaka kuongezea kwamba kampuni ya Kakuzi, sababu hata Devolution walitoa samba wakapatia watu wa Kandara resident. Pia kampuni ya Kakuzi ifanye heshima yake, itoe shamba ingine iongezee hii.
Addressing these quarters, Murigi said the government ought to speed up the process of surveying to evacuate the squatters who are facing so many challenges.
Ile kitu inafanya maendeleo ya Kinyangi ikose kuendelea kwa sababu ya cheti. Kwa hivyo wakazi wa Kinyangi sio wengi sana, tunawajua. Wanafaa wasaidiwe wakuwe na cheti chao, at least waweze kujenga mzuri.
Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Mambo iweze kutendeka vizuri.
A very warm welcome to Primetime Sports. My name is Dennis Otieno. Now let's start off with matters football. With the third edition of the Chapa Dimba na Safaricom Grassroots Football Tournament set to make a return in May this year, one of the biggest beneficiaries of the program, Benson Omala, who's currently playing as a striker for Gor Mahia and is the top goal scorer in the 2022-2023 FKF Premier League season, has recalled what led to his success in domestic football. Omala stated that since his childhood days playing football for Chipolopolo FC in Nyamasaria, Kisumu County, elite players will encourage him to work hard while his parents supported his journey in sports. Omala, in an exclusive interview with TV47 Sports Desk, stated that his talent helped him get education in school without paying tuition fees before he joined Manyata FC in high school, where they enrolled for the Chapa Dimba tournament. Now, owing to his stellar performances in the competition, Omala was approached by Western Stima and signed with the FKF Premier League side as his professional career in the sport set off impressively.
Mimi nimekuwa na players wanacheza ligi, walikuwa wanatupea advice kwa hiyo timu yetu ya Nyamasari inaitwa Chipolopolo. So walikuwa wanatuambia sisi kama tunacheza Premier League na tumetoka na nyinyi hapa, nyinyi pia mnaweza. So walikuwa wanatupea tu motisha hiyo. My dad, my little brothers, my elder brother pia wamechangia sana kwa hii career yangu sana, juu wamekuwa supportive sana. Unapata nikienda kucheza maybe tukiwa na game Kisumu Western, wanakuja kunipa hiyo support, na as a player familia yake ikiwa karibu na wewe unapata tu hiyo motisha na unazidi tu kujituma. Kama parent umeona mtoto wako kuna talanta na pia anaweza someshwa bure na pia ulipi chochote. So hiyo nimefanya my parents wangu wamependa sana hii talanta yangu, juu kutoka primary sijalipa anything shuleni, so iliondelea gharama fulani. Dimba nimeplay role kubwa sana kwa career yangu juu imenipea hiyo platform na imepea vijana wengine pia platform, na naweza sema Chapadimba imeonyesha kipaji yangu juu nimecheza Chapadimba, nikamaliza nikapata timu ya ligi Western Stima. So naweza sema naweza rudisha tu shukrani kwa wadhamini Safaricom kwa kutoa hiyo tournament na kuidhamini. Thing ilikuwa poa, walikuwa well organized. Unapata kama competition iko like next week, wameshaanza kuimarket, like wameanza kutembea vijijini kujulisha watu kuwa next week kuna Chapadimba inakuja Kisumu, kuna Chapadimba inaenda Meru. Hivyo wamekuwa so professional sana ku market hiyo tournament. Na pia Kenya naweza sahi na Chapadimba inarudi nimesikia inarudi Mei, na naweza wahimiza tu ongeze tu kuingia sana mashinani, kuweka timu zikuwe mob, na wachezaji pia wanapata hiyo chance ya kuenda nje pia wakuwe wengi, ndio kuwa na wachezaji wengi watatoka after hiyo season, after hiyo third edition. Natumai kuwa wachezaji wengi sana watatoka na kucheza ligi kuu ya Kenya. Beneficiary pia naweza sema vijana wanaweza kucheza Chapadimba, naweza sema wajikaze sana na watie bidii. Juu mimi pia nilitoka Chapadimba, nao pia kila kitu inawezekana, ni kutia tu bidii. Na Chapadimba pia makoches wengi wa Premier League kuja kuwatch, ni rahisi sana utoke na Chapadimba.
Meanwhile, the 44th edition of the Primary School Athletics Games Championships kicked off earlier today at the William Olentimama Stadium in Narok County as sports stakeholders and officials called for the nurturing of young athletes to reach their maximum potential with their God-given talents. Speaking during the hotly contested competition, Kenya Primary Schools Association Sports Association Chairman Ben Achieng reiterated that the renowned athletes in the country took part in the primary athletics competition and route the stardom, hence the important role in nurturing talent. Achieng emphasized that athletics prowess and academic accomplishments go hand in hand, adding that sports influences the children's character positively.
Athletics imesaidia Wakenya wengi wametembea kimataifa, wametembea nchi mbalimbali, na wengi wameshinda, na hata sasa wamekuwa matajiri kwa sababu ya mambo ya athletics. Kwa hivyo yangu tu ni kuwahimiza na kuambia kwamba to compete as patriotic Kenyans, tukijua kwamba kila Wakenya wote wanatuangalia tukiwa hapa, to avoid incidents ambazo zitaleta bad reputation kwa hii michezo.
Athletic prowess and academic accomplishments go hand in hand. They function as two halves of a single coin. Sports aids your holistic development. Sports is not something that builds your character. It reveals it.
Leaders in Kiambu County, led by Ndeia Ward MCA Nelson Munga, have urged the national and county governments to support and finance more tournaments in order to enhance the fight against illicit drugs in the area by engaging the youth in sports. Speaking during the Nelson Munga football tournament held at the Makutano grounds, MCA Munga stated that the region has been hitting the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, including the youth engaging in social vices such as drug abuse. Munga proposed that having more tournaments with incentives for the participating teams will give the youth something to play for and stay engaged in sports so as to avoid partaking in drug abuse, while at the same time helping nurture talented youth in the area. During the tournament, John Dongo and George Njogu were on target as Boma Sportif defeated Makutano FC 2-1.
Tengenezewe vifaa. Tukishatengenezewa vifaa, uwanja, social hall, tuweze kupata indoor games, vijana wetu hamna siku watapotelea kwa pombe. Manake wote watakuwa busy, wote watakuwa nacheza, na ya muhimu tuweze kupanga league ambapo sasa tunacheza ya ndeia, tuweze kupanga ya 5 wards. 5 wards zinaweza menyana na kupatana pale katika Limuru sub county. Limuru sub county inatoa team inaenda katika county inatoa team, alafu hiyo team inaenda nationally. Kwa hivyo ombi letu ni hao wachezaji, na kwa kawaida gavana wa Kiambu tunaomba waziri wa michezo, tunawaomba kwa heshima kuu muweze kuja kuidentify vijana. Tukiona umechukulia vijana 2 watatu waende kupata kazi kwa Kanjo, 2 watatu waweza kuenda katika nationally, 2 watatu waweza kuenda kufanya ile kazi nyingine, hiyo ndiyo njia ya kuwa na nidhamu mwafaka kwa vijana wetu.
We get to call it a wrap on the sports news. Now you're up to speed with the latest sports stories taking shape locally as well as internationally. My name is Denis Otieno. Many thanks for your valid company. I wish you a lovely night as I take it back to Eric Munene, who's right here with me on set. Eric, the club that you support, the great Manchester United, are finally in the finals of the FA Cup. It's going to be a Manchester derby. Do you think Manchester United will win that final?
Well, if it will get to the point that it got yesterday,
yeah.
Although I have to admit I was at the edge of my seat watching that game until the penalties, I think if it gets to that, Manchester United will carry it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not by sheer luck.
It was not by
sheer luck. If you ask me.
Yeah. And by the time we're getting to the finals, which is going to be in sometime in June, all the ailing players, Manchester United players who have injuries would have recovered by then.